We appreciate every one of you. Tell us where you're watching from. Drop it in the comments. Let's get started. Ryan Caldwell once thought routine was the deepest proof of love. Each morning, he brewed 2 coffees, one black, the other with almond milk and honey, exactly how Amanda liked hers, before heading to his job at a small digital marketing agency in downtown Nashville. Their kitchen used to carry the scent of toasted bagels and lavender candles. For years, that smell meant home. Lately, though, it smelled like empty space. Amanda's smile had thinned. Her phone would light up at the table, and she'd angle away before answering, as if she didn't notice Ryan tracking every movement. She started sleeping with her screen face down. When Ryan asked if she'd been texting, she shrugged it off. Just work stuff, babe. Don't be paranoid. He wasn't paranoid. He was painfully attentive. Their marriage had shifted gradually, like a slow leak in a roof you only notice when the ceiling collapses. Ryan could still remember when they couldn't keep their hands off each other, back when she worked part-time in the floral shop, and he'd pick her up just to watch her smile. Now she worked at a new firm downtown, a sleek office full of late meetings, networking events, and one name that kept surfacing in her stories, Lucas. Ryan didn't want to be the jealous husband. He trusted her, or at least wanted to. That Friday morning, Amanda was already dressed before he even left the shower. She looked stunning. A black blazer, gold hoops, perfume heavier than usual. Big pitch today? He asked, trying to play it cool. She hesitated, gave a small smile, then said something like that. His stomach nodded. He drove to work distracted, missed 2 deadlines, and barely spoke through the team lunch. Even Melissa, his co-worker, a middle-aged mom who'd seen plenty of marriages crumble, noticed. You okay, Ryan? You look like someone reading the last page of a book he didn't know was ending. He forced a smile. Maybe I am. That night the house felt colder than normal. Ryan reheated leftovers and scrolled through photos from better times. Their wedding by the lake, Amanda laughing in a sundress, the trips they'd splurged on despite the budget. Around 7 the door opened. Amanda glided in wearing a shimmering black dress, curls falling over her shoulders. She was luminous, and it wasn't from him. Wow, Ryan said, half a smile. You're dressed up. What's the occasion? Amanda grabbed her clutch and checked her reflection one last time. Girls' night, she said, barely looking at him. Some drinks, some music. Don't wait up, okay? He nodded, but the silence between them said more than any argument could. She left. Heels clicking like promises fading, and the house slid back into stillness. Ryan sat in the living room, eyes on the muted TV. What he felt wasn't just suspicion. It was a hollow knowing that something sacred had already been taken. He thought of the woman he'd fallen for, the one who used to slip love notes into his lunchbox and dance barefoot in the living room. The woman in that dress tonight wasn't her. Half an hour later, pouring himself another drink, his phone buzzed. A message from Jake, his best friend since high school. Hey man, you might want to see this. Attached was a photo. Amanda at a bar, laughing, leaning into her man Ryan recognized instantly, Lucas. Ryan stared at the screen for a long moment. His thumb hovered over Amanda's contact. He didn't scream, didn't call, didn't sob. He typed with a slow, exact steadiness that comes from grief gone cold. You look beautiful tonight. So, who's the guy next to you? He hit send. Just like that, the line between trust and betrayal disappeared. Seconds later, the typing bubbles appeared, then vanished. Her social profile went private. Ryan's jaw clenched. A faint smirk lifted one corner of his mouth as he whispered, calm and cutting, All right, Amanda, if you want to play games, I'll make sure you lose everything you bet. That night, he stopped being the waiting husband and started becoming the man who planned. He didn't sleep, lying awake with his eyes fixed on the ceiling fan spinning lazy circles. His mind mapped the route from love to betrayal. Every memory changed tone. The way she'd laugh at his jokes, go in late to work, but come home smelling of a perfume that wasn't hers. It wasn't grief keeping him awake now. It was clarity. By morning, Amanda moved to the house like nothing had happened, humming, sipping coffee, scrolling with that practiced nonchalance. Ryan watched the way a detective watches a suspect. Quietly, methodically, drained of feeling. "Sleep okay?" She asked over the rim of her mug. He forced a small smile. "Didn't get much rest." "You?" "Oh, we stayed out pretty late," she said too casually. "You know how the girls are." He nodded, voice steady. "Yeah, I know." Inside, he was already assembling a plan, not from rage, but from precision. He wouldn't scream or beg. He let her assume she still had him wrapped around her finger. That would make the fall harder. At work, he kept up the act. Smiles, jokes, meetings. Behind the scenes, he gathered facts. He called Jake, who'd taken the photo. "Jake?" Ryan asked over the phone. "I need to know how long this has been going on." Jake hesitated. "You sure you want to know, man? Some things can't be unseen." "I already saw enough," Ryan said. "I just need proof." That night, while Amanda texted coworkers on the couch, Ryan checked their shared phone accounts. Her late-night calls weren't to Hannah, her supposed best friend. They were to an unfamiliar number, Lucas's. Each log call, every timestamp, every receipt from her girls' nights tightened at his chest. But he stayed silent. He saved everything. It stopped being about catching her and became about composing an ending she wouldn't anticipate. 3 days later, Amanda came home radiant again. "Guess what?" she said, spinning in her heels. "The firm's flying me to Atlanta for a week. Client training." Ryan kept his tone casual. "That's great. You wanted that promotion, right?" She smiled, relieved he appeared unconcerned. "Exactly. It's a big opportunity, Ree. I'll probably be slammed. So don't worry if I don't text much." He stepped closer, brushed a strand of hair from her face. "Don't worry about me. Focus on your work." She kissed his cheek, and for a second he almost pitied her. Almost. Because while she planned her trip, Ryan was making his own moves. He met Jake at a diner across town and laid out every piece of evidence, every lie. Jake listened, then asked, "So, what's the plan?" Ryan leaned back. "Simple. She's playing secret games. I'll make them public, but clean. She'll lose everything she built behind my back." He began moving money out of their joint account, transferring his half into a new savings account in his name. He contacted his lawyer and quietly filed paperwork, marking dates. By the time Amanda boarded what she thought was a business trip, Ryan had all her cards stacked neatly in his hand. That weekend, Jake texted again, "Bro, she's not in Atlanta. My buddy saw her at a beach resort in Florida with Lucas." Ryan didn't reply. He didn't have to. The game had already been decided. So instead of wasting energy, he spent that entire week putting every piece exactly where it needed to be. He canceled their lease renewal, packed only the essentials he actually cared about, and finalized a transfer to his company's New York office. The same position he once refused because he wanted to stay close to Amanda. Not anymore. On the 5th night of her trip, Amanda FaceTimed him from what was supposedly her hotel room. Her hair was messy, the lighting was off, and her smile was weirdly tight. "Hey, babe," she spoke softly. "Just wanted to say goodnight." Ryan smiled gently. "You look exhausted. Long day." "Yeah," she replied too quickly. "Meetings nonstop." He let the silence stretch before speaking again. "You know, I checked the company schedule. That Atlanta seminar doesn't start until next Monday." Her face froze. "What are you talking about?" "Oh, nothing," Ryan answered calmly, voice colder now. "Just wondering what the ocean view looks like from your hotel balcony." Her smile evaporated. The call glitched. She scrambled to end it. Ryan whispered into the empty room, almost amused. "Wi-Fi must be terrible. Or maybe it's the lies." When she rolled her suitcase through the door 3 days later, he was already there, not yelling, not emotional, simply finished. An envelope waited on the kitchen counter. Inside, printed photos, call history, and a signed divorce agreement. Amanda stopped dead in her tracks. "Ryan, what is this?" He looked at her with a calm, hollow stare. "It's the truth. The same truth you traded for hotel rooms and half-stories." Her voice cracked. "Please, it was a mistake." He cut her off, not vicious, just absolute. "You didn't make a mistake, Amanda. You made a decision. And so did I." Behind him, movers were already hauling boxes out. His car was loaded. Amanda's mascara streaked as she tried to grab his arm. You can't just walk away. Ryan turned, words quiet but sharp enough to cut steel. You walked away months ago. I'm only catching up. Before stepping out, he paused once more. Oh, you might want to check your HR inbox. They'll be reviewing the photos of you and Lucas on company time. Her legs gave out. Ryan, please. He didn't stick around to see her collapse. He stepped outside into the sunlight and shut the door behind him. For the first time in months, the silence didn't wound him. It was medicine. He drove off whispering to himself, sometimes revenge isn't destruction. Sometimes it's freedom. The next week felt unsettlingly calm to Ryan, not silent from loneliness, but from relief. For years he lived tiptoeing around Amanda's moods, trying to decode if her affection was real or just another illusion. Now there was nothing left to interpret, only peace. His new place was smaller, simpler, but it smelled like new paint and fresh air instead of manipulation. Moving boxes sat untouched, and he didn't care. He slept deeply for the first time in forever. No phone buzzing at 2 a.m., no whispered bathroom calls. Just rest, but peace as ripples. By the end of the week, Jake called. Bro, you should probably sit down. Ryan leaned against his desk, sipping coffee. What now? Jake hesitated. That little HR message you sent, it blew up way more than we expected. Lucas was already under internal review for misconduct. Those photos sealed it. He's fired. And Amanda? Ryan's voice stayed emotionless. She's suspended. They're reviewing everything. Word is spreading fast. Ryan just nodded, eyes cold but steady. Actions have consequences. They always do. That night, rain tapped softly against the windows of his new apartment. Ryan checked his inbox. Buried among random emails was one from Amanda. Subject line, please just talk to me. He hovered, then opened it. The message was long. Too long. She wrote about regret, about missing him, about realizing too late what she destroyed. She said she lost her job, and Lucas ghosted her once it all came out. Her words were drenched in guilt and self-pity. At the end, she begged, you were the only person who ever truly cared about me. Can we please meet once? I need closure. Ryan leaned back, staring at the screen. Closure. The word cheaters always think they're entitled to. But closure wasn't something she could hand him. He earned it the moment he chose himself. Still, a part of him wanted to see her one last time, not from love, but clarity, to confirm the woman he once adored was truly gone. So he replied short and neutral. Meet me at the old cafe tomorrow at noon. The cafe, their old spot, looked the same. Same faded blue booths. Same ancient jukebox. Ryan got there early, sipping black coffee while sunlight cut across the tables. Amanda arrived 10 minutes later. Hair pulled back, face drained of color, eyes red from crying. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. Ryan, she whispered as she slid into the seat across from him. Amanda. Silence filled the space between them, broken only by clinking cups and quiet conversations around them. She reached for his hand. He calmly pulled his away. Pain flashed across her face. Please, she whispered. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I never tried to hurt you. I was lost, confused. Lucas. Stop, Ryan said gently, unwavering. You made a choice. Don't rewrite it as an accident. Her voice trembled. I loved you, Ryan. I still do. He exhaled slowly, voice distant but controlled. No, you loved the version of me who didn't know better yet. The guy who trusted without expecting honesty back. That version of me doesn't exist anymore. She tried one more time. We can fix this. I'll get therapy. We can rebuild. He stared at her quietly, looking for something real behind her apologies. But all he saw was regret born from consequences, not love. I'm not mad anymore, he finally said, and I don't hate you, but there's no going back. You enjoy being admired, not being loved, and I confuse your attention for real affection. Tears streamed down her cheeks. So that's it. That's it, he answered softly. We both get exactly what we earned. She buried her face in her hands. For the first time, Ryan didn't feel heartbreak or anger, just relief. He placed a small envelope on the table, her wedding ring, polished and clean. "Keep it," he said quietly, "not as a memory of me, but as a reminder of the truth you finally had to face." Then he stood up and walked out, leaving her alone at the same booth where they once dreamed of forever. Weeks passed. The pain faded like bruises do, slowly but steadily. Ryan poured himself into work, preparing for his move to New York just like he planned. His co-workers noticed something different about him. He grew sharper, more sure of himself, strangely steady. He started jogging at sunrise, picked up guitar practice on weekends, and reclaimed the simple joys Amanda once made him feel ashamed for loving. His laughter came back too, not the forced cover-up he used to hide behind, but real, relaxed laughter that came from peace. One evening while he was packing up his desk, Melissa, the co-worker who always sensed something was off back then, stopped beside him. "I heard you're transferring to the New York office," she said with a smirk. "Fresh chapter?" Ryan nodded. "Something like that." She studied his face a little longer. "You look lighter, happier." He actually smiled. A real one this time. That's what happens when you stop fighting for someone who never fought for you. Later that night, Ryan drove across the bridge, leaving the city behind. Windows down, wind in his hair, the skyline fading into smears of light in the rear view. Ahead was nothing but open road, and it felt like rebirth. He turned the music up and felt a quiet grin curl on his lips. He wasn't the guy who waited by the phone anymore. He wasn't the guy begging for transparency or basic respect. He was simply free. And somewhere back in that same city, Amanda was finally realizing the lesson he had learned long before her. Love isn't ownership. Love isn't a power play. Love is respect. And once you destroy that, there is no apology in existence that can rebuild it. Months rolled by, seasons changed, and Ryan never once felt the urge to look back. New York became his routine. He woke up early, skyscrapers shining outside his apartment window. He joined a gym, built new friendships at the office, and even started mentoring younger employees. He wasn't running from the past anymore. He was actually walking towards something better. Sometimes late at night, though, Amanda's memory would float in like a faded melody, not with anger, just a soft reminder of who he used to be and how far he had climbed since then. Ryan didn't need to destroy her life to feel free. He just let the truth do all the work. And it did, fast. Rumors spread across her old workplace. Amanda and Lucas became one of those whispered cautionary tales told near coffee machines and at company dinners. Lucas never landed another corporate job again. Amanda, name ruined, moved away and struggled to stay afloat, working part-time at a little boutique. It wasn't revenge fueled by cruelty. It was consequence fueled by reality. One cold November night, Ryan stopped inside a quiet bookstore on the walk home. Lately, he'd spent more time there, reading, reflecting, writing. The owner, Laura, sweet woman in her mid-50s, noticed. "You always pick books about second chances," she teased, handing him the receipt. Ryan smiled softly. "Guess I've always been drawn to redemption." She chuckled. "Then maybe it's time you write your own." That sentence stuck in him. By winter, he started keeping a journal. Not about Amanda. About healing. About learning boundaries. About rebuilding peace. He never planned for anyone to see it. But when he anonymously shared a few pages online, they spread everywhere. Thousands of people responded saying his words were their story too, staying in one-sided love far longer than they should have. For the first time, Ryan realized his pain had become purpose. Then one afternoon, his phone lit up with an unknown caller. He ignored it twice. The third time, curiosity won. "Hello." The voice, shaky and fragile, answered. "Ryan, it's me." His heart paused for a split second. Nearly a year since he heard that voice. "Amanda, I just wanted to say I'm sorry," she whispered. "Not for what happened to me, but for what I did to you. You didn't deserve that. I don't want anything. I just needed you to know." Ryan stayed silent for a moment, then quietly replied, "I know, and I forgive you. Amanda. But forgiveness doesn't mean we go back. It just means I'm finally done carrying what you left behind. A soft sob on the line. Then a faint, goodbye. Goodbye, he said and hung up. That was real closure. Not rage. Not revenge. Just peace. Spring came early in New York. One Saturday morning, Ryan sat at a cafe near Central Park, sunlight bouncing off glass towers around him. Laura spotted him from across the street and waved. He waved back. Life still wasn't perfect, but it was honest. As he sipped his coffee, he smiled slightly, realizing just how far he'd come. The best revenge was never proving Amanda wrong. It was proving himself right. He had loved deeply. He had trusted fully. And despite betrayal, he refused to let it turn him bitter. Ryan looked up at the skyline, his skyline now, and whispered to himself, sometimes losing the person you thought you needed is how you finally find who you really are. And as the morning sun warmed his skin, he smiled again, not because of the past, but because the past finally had zero control over him anymore.